When you're finishing every day thinking I didn't get everything done, that's where you need to take a step back, look at it from a little bit of a high level.
The point of marketing is to buy customers at a profit. At the core of it, your tracking needs to track that.
Very rarely is your competition doing as well as they say they are.
All right, well, welcome to another Chats with Selenites. Today I've got with me Matthew McDonald. Hello, Matthew.
Matthew McDonald, am I in trouble?
Very, very official. Matthew around the office is also known as Macca, Matt, or just HR and taking care of basically everything. But the other thing that Matt's really good at is understanding what a business needs in terms of digital marketing, and then providing the right information. That's I really love that about you, Macca, that you're able to talk to a business, cut through the emotions, cut through what is going on in everyone's mind, and then just say, okay, great. Well, here's really what you need. Here's what that's going to look like, and here's what we can do for you. So with that kind of frame, what we're going to do today is actually just kind of have a bit of a chat around a few questions, because Matt's really good with project management, different types of digital marketing, and websites across to all the other aspects and how they all fit together. And yeah, I've been doing this for close to 20 years now as well, this whole marketing thing. So we'll just kind of put the question out there, and then both of us can just kind of have a chat around what that means. So
Sounds
number
good.
one, what are the most common signs a business needs professional marketing help?
Very open-ended question, isn't it?
Yeah, because most of the time, people come to us when they kind of know something, they need something.
Yeah, it's usually a little bit later than when the ideal time would have been.
Yeah, so I guess we're trying to figure out now, how do you nail that time before you actually know?
Yep. I think as a really general answer to that for a lot of clients, typical to us, when they want to grow.
Yeah.
Once they've decided they want to grow. We have a lot of clients that probably get disheartened or disillusioned or even lose faith in what marketing can do for them, because they spend a lot of time, effort, money in trying things themselves or trying to stretch themselves too thin, trying to take all of the advice that is on the internet, which as we know is quite varied and a lot of times outdated too.
Seep through that, hey?
Absolutely, yeah. Like with how fast everything moves, we know from working in it every day. Like we've written blogs and articles and help stuff that was applicable 2 years ago and wouldn't apply now.
Yeah, I know. Once I wrote a guide for Gumtree, and it worked really, really well. Gumtree changed all the rules, and I was like, well, this doesn't work anymore.
Yep.
This strategy.
And even where Gumtree sits in the hierarchy of how people shop these days is very different now to what it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, I like the fact that most people probably realize too late. So I think probably for business, this question is probably mostly for those that are either in startup phase or they've maybe been operating for a few years, and that thought's like, how do I go to the next level?
Yep.
It's kind of when marketing kicks in, when you understand that these referrals aren't going to take me to where we want to go.
Yep.
Something needs to push this. And that's where digital marketing comes in.
Yeah, I agree. I think also the ideal time for a business to really start looking at marketing would be, and this is providing you're not a business that might be a self-trader, small one-man band. You've got enough work coming in to keep yourself happy, and all that sort of stuff. That it's fine to have a business like that, and people are really lucky to set things up like that and be content with it. But if you have bigger plans, more grand plans, I guess,
looking to build that empire.
Yep, exactly. I think the ideal time to start thinking about marketing would be straight after you get really clear on what it is you're offering.
Awesome.
Or selling. Yeah. Or what your product is or whatever it might be.
100%. Once you have proven concept.
Exactly.
I think we just nailed it there, because so many times clients come to us and they want to do ads, they want to do SEO, they want to rebuild their site. they don't even know who their avatar is. They don't even know what their best products are. They don't even know if their service is already the right one. And then they're like, oh, but we also want to do this, this, and that. There's a lot of confusion. So nail those core business things first, then comes the marketing.
Yep. They haven't, for a lot of them, they haven't even really defined what their product or service is exactly yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're still trying to be everything to everyone.
Yeah.
They're in that startup phase. You're trying to please everyone. You bend yourself sort of outside of what it is that's really your specialty or what it is that you had as an intention to start with. You might say yes to offering some services around what it is that you do in your core business that, always it's like the no good deed goes unpunished type thing. It always takes more time than you expected.
Yeah.
You never charge enough for it, all that sort of stuff. And that's where a lot of clients come to us. And you're exactly right. You ask them what their avatar is or what their ideal customer is or who their target customer is. And it's hard for them to really pin anything down because they've just said yes to everything. They're taking any business on, which is fine. That's how a lot of businesses have to get up and running.
Do.
Yep.
I get it, yeah.
But before you go and start spending money on marketing, you really want to have all that stuff nailed. You want to know exactly what it is that you're selling or offering. You want to know exactly who it is you're trying to sell or offer it to.
Cool.
And that's the way that you won't burn all this money on trying to market to such a broad target range that getting conversions is really difficult, or trying to put enough budget behind it is hard because it's getting spread so thin.
You're trying to be everything to everyone, you said earlier on. And it kind of leads me to the next question, which is, why do businesses start attracting the wrong audiences, and how can experts fix that? So we kind of already dug into it. So it's because I know what it's like trying to bootstrap a business, trying to grow it. You're going to take on jobs. You're going to, whatever they're like, even if they're the wrong client, you know it inside, but it's like, but it's going to pay. I'm just going to go through the pain and do it.
Yep. It's going to pay the rent for another week, or it's going to pay another salary.
That's it. Exactly. It'll get us to that next month. And that's okay. Like in survival stage and maybe even startup. But I think if you're serious about marketing, because advertising is not cheap. Like advertising costs money. And if you're not clear about that, your marketing is going to be way more expensive because, so how do we fix this? Because we nail in on an audience and then we just market to those.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can still be in that phase of business where saying yes to everything is still the right move. Mm-hmm. Maybe stretching outside of your comfort zone because there's some money on the table for it, or because there's someone willing to pay for it. But while that might still be what you're doing within the business, with your marketing, you want to get really clear on what your target is.
This is really good.
So this is where you want to define the type of customer that you want, the type of service that you want to the business to be. Whether it's a 12-month thing or a 2-year thing, but really getting clear on the service that you're offering, again, like we said, or the product that it is that you're selling. Getting clear on that, marketing, and even sometimes reverse engineering that down to your target audience and your ideal customer and your avatar and all those things, and just focusing the marketing on that so that you attract the right customers.
Correct.
And while that builds and while that sort of grows into enough business for you to then be able to say no to the other things that you may not be able to say no to right now comfortably.
Exactly right. Yeah, I agree with that. And literally, we've gone through this. Like, we've got clients on our books, and they've been with us for 10, close to 15 years.
Yep.
And if they wanted the same service that we were delivering for them today, and asked for us to do it, we wouldn't take them on. Now, we didn't have that luxury 10 years ago because, like you said, you just got to do what you do. But, so here's the thing. So you don't say no to these people that are just organically coming to you because it doesn't cost you anything.
Yep.
Yes, they're not as profitable, they're a bit more of a pain, they're going to cause kind of just more stress, it's more work, so that's fine. Let that run, but your ads, don't do that. With your ads, be super targeted for your ideal customer.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
You don't want your marketing to be as broad as the things that you're taking on, just because you know there's money there for it. And with these things that any business owner, when they're getting started, you're going to have opportunities come up for things that aren't really, strictly speaking, right in your lane. Mm-hmm. You still want to be confident that you can deliver on them.
Yeah.
Because doing a poor job is probably worse than just saying no and leaving the money
you still won't
anyway.
be able to do it.
And like I said, as long as you are confident that you can do a good job with it, you're probably never going to charge enough for it. You're always going to think that you're undercharged or that it took too much work or the hassle of it was more than you expected and all that sort of stuff. But as long as you deliver a good service or end result and things like that, it helps with building the business. It helps with the word of mouth and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, you don't want to be putting marketing budget towards picking up more of that stuff.
Correct. So nail in your avatar, and that's where your marketing goes. See, a lot of people don't tell you that. They'll say, you got to get an avatar. Just say no to those jobs. And it's like, that's not always right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to stop the cash flow. Who's going to pay for the marketing?
Exactly.
That still needs to be paid for.
And taking that one step further too, you can have, even for stuff that we do. So we obviously over the years have expanded services that we offer and gone into things that we didn't offer initially and things like that because it goes hand in hand with services that we do have. But I still wouldn't consider them our ideal service offering or our core service offering or our bread and butter for another term. And they're things that we still don't focus on with our marketing. Our marketing still focuses on the things that built the business, the things that are proven,
at the start,
our specialty and our expertise and all that sort of stuff. There is services that we offer that we just wouldn't market because they're not our ideal customer. They're not things that we want to offer on their own, or they're not things that are maybe actually for some of them, they're not even things that have enough margin in them to do marketing.
Yeah, right.
But they're great add-ons for other services that we offer.
That's great. Yeah, really a lot of things to consider there, which is good. Okay, so we'll kind of change lanes a little bit. And I know I've done this, and I know our clients do all the time, so it's out there and people feel this way. But looking at your competition.
Yeah.
So let's say your competitor gets aggressive. When is it just the dip, or when is it something, I should be worried about this? How do you kind of make that, okay, I got a rebuttal here. I've got to step up my marketing. When is that kind of an issue?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's probably a difficult one to answer really specifically in a setting like this without having a particular business or a particular competitor or even a particular industry.
Yeah, right.
But I think for the most part, if you're noticing your competitor taking ground, just in general, if they're taking ground or they're getting aggressive with their marketing or they're starting to, build their stuff enough that you're starting to feel it in your sales, it's probably already too late.
Okay.
Not too late to do something about it, but you're probably already a step behind. So the answer really in a short form would be right now. The part about whether it's a dip or whether it's something more long term and things like that, generally, if it's a dip, providing you've got good numbers around your business, which every business should have. If you're across your numbers, you've got some good analytics on your site or you've got some good tracking set up on your site. The easiest way to know whether it's a dip is just to have a look at things traditionally. Have a look at that month the year before. Have a look at how things trended the year before and over the last couple of years. Compare it to the last month, for example, to see if maybe at the end of each month things drop off for you, or for some businesses the end of financial year could be a time when they get a bit of a dip or a bit of a boost and all that sort of stuff. But looking at things historically is probably the best way to identify whether it's just a little bit of a dip or whether it's the competition taking a little bit more ground. But for the most part, if your competition's doing enough that they're starting to pop up in your feed, or you're starting to see them more often, or you're starting to, it's not going to be something that's just going to fix itself.
Yeah.
Like once any business has positioned itself and made the decision to start some growth or to go into some more heavy marketing, and it's probably going to be at least a medium-term thing for them.
Yep.
Which means if you don't want to lose that ground to them long-term, you probably need to at least match it.
That was going to be mine, because we've worked with so many companies, because we've been doing SEO for so long. Like, so many of our clients broke in early and they had that first mover advantage. So we were
back when wins were easy.
Yeah, exactly. And like for an example, we work with a relining company in Sydney. and no one was doing relining. It was a specialty. Then all of a sudden, the competition realized, all these plumbers realized, oh, this is an easy thing to just tack on. I just got to get the machine, and happy days. It was a cash machine.
Yep.
Now,
and a great area for it too in Sydney with the older houses.
So it was just a booming thing. Now, the thing about that is, and my recommendation is, whenever you are ahead, build a moat. It's not a time to slow down. You've got to build a moat around your business that's going to keep you ahead, like you said earlier on, keeps you well ahead of the competition. Because then when you feel it, you're like, okay, but I've still got some distance because that's what I've been working on.
You give yourself some time to react.
Yeah.
Some time to see that rather than like how the question was posed around seeing a bit of a dip or seeing your competition get in front. And it's sort of the opposite. When you build that little bit of a moat and you give yourself that little bit of breathing room, you see your advantage shrinking rather than seeing any competition, go further in front of you or take market share off you or anything like that. You're giving yourself time to make that decision and see whether it is a dip, and you may not have to look into things as deeply because you've got the advantage. You're the one that they're looking at going, how much do I need to spend on marketing, or how much is this maybe a dip just in my own stuff and all that sort of thing.
And you know what we said earlier on, like understanding your avatar, because this is what I've seen as well. Even though they may show up and they may even start ranking for general terms and stuff, but you're targeting a niche, let them spend, because your niche is probably not going to resonate with their message.
Yeah.
I think you got to get really clear on that. Are they a direct competitor, or they're actually just within the same industry, but they're totally different? So I think and they may even do the same things, but we're targeting different people. So it's like, let them spend money on that, because the kind of clients that marketing attracts, I'm not really after.
Yeah, or tighten your niche to go after a different segment of that same ideal customer or that same demographic or that same product and service of whatever it is. Like if they're doing really flash marketing with a lot of fancy videos and expensive houses in expensive suburbs and all that sort of stuff, then take the other angle and go after the older places with the the pensioners or the lower income or the better value service or the better quality. There's always a way to tweak your avatar and to tweak your offer to find a niche that doesn't clash directly with your competitors. Because really all you're going to do then is make it more expensive for both of you, to the point where it's who's happy to make the least amount of money out of a conversion.
I was about to say, do not let ego determine your marketing decisions. I've seen this because we
see it constantly.
We work with like alpha people, and they're like, no, I'm just going to muscle them out. I'm like, you don't have to, because that's not even your market. Like for one of our clients, he builds mezzanine floors, high end, very specialized, and the majority of the market is after kids. And it's like, you don't have to be competing with all of them. Let's go after your niche. Let's go after those terms that bring that in. But the ego in the person says, no, I just want to dominate.
Just wants to dominate everyone.
And that's okay if you've got deep pockets to see it through. Like it's a valid strategy, but I want to be looking at my numbers.
Providing you're going to get value out of taking that dominance in that market.
If it makes sense.
Yeah, like for instance, going to that same example again, it's all good and well to dominate that competition for the kits and things like that, but we've had some of them before that want to crush the competition just because it's a competitor they've had for a long time. They've never even met each other, but there's a little bit of dislike there and all that sort of stuff, and they'll want to crush them for a product they don't even offer.
Yeah.
Or I know with that particular example, he can service that part of the market, so that's fine. But there's no point in taking a competitor out or dominating it in a search term just to beat them, but then not have anything to offer that part of the market anyway.
Yeah.
Because you might get some satisfaction from doing the dominating, but you're really just throwing money away.
Yeah, exactly. It's an ego thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right. So let's move forward here, because what can come out of this, and this is kind of the next question, why do brands lose consistency in messaging, and how does a specialist restore clarity? When you go after the competition, and I've seen this being done to us, I've literally had other suppliers rip our entire landing page. So they literally took a screenshot of it and put our service offering into a marketplace and tried to sell the same thing.
It still happens.
Yeah.
We've had it happen in the last few months.
Yeah, and I've seen other agencies use my headlines, and we've been around that long, and now for me, it's just like, it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
They're just copying. They can't be original themselves. And that's okay, like, to a degree, but if you really understand your avatar, and if you're dialed in with that, just copying someone's taglines and stuff isn't going to work just because they're doing well in your eyes. Like, just because you think they're doing well doesn't mean that's going to work in your industry.
Yeah.
So when your messaging kind of goes all over the place, because then you're following this person here, now you're doing this, now you're doing this, how can you get clear about that again?
Yeah. I think the easiest, this is probably the best question so far for a direct answer, would be, how's the question phrased again exactly?
Yeah, what do brands lose? Why do brands lose consistency in the messaging? And how does a specialist restore clarity?
Yeah. So for the first part of that, how does a brand lose the consistency in messaging? Lack of planning.
Yep.
Lack of planning,
Reactive.
Yeah, 100%. So whether it's ego or emotion just in general, becoming reactive to competitors or anything like that, is when the consistency just goes out the window. When it's planned out, and this is how a specialist will come in and help you with this, because they will put that plan together. Like generally, if you go to any specialist that's worth their salt, they shouldn't just be going, yeah, cool, let's do some marketing. Here's a bill, let's go. Mm-hmm. They should be coming to you with that plan. Yeah. Let's work out your avatar. Let's work out the target audience. Let's have a look at what the competitors are doing so that we can avoid, wasting money going up against things that we don't need to. Let's find some things that are going to be better value, quicker wins, and have all that plan. And the other thing that can bring all this together from the start for yourself, even without a specialist, that a lot of businesses don't have, they may not even know what it is, but having brand guidelines, having your brand tone and your brand voice set and being really clear on all of those things, so it's still a little bit surprising to me how many clients come to us and they don't even know what their brand colors are. They can't tell us what their brand colors are to stick to with marketing
well, their logo was made in clip art.
Yes.
And I know some of our viewers probably don't even know what clip art is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? And this is what I see a lot. Us coming in as specialists like that for a lot of our clients, we're not emotionally attached to everything that's going on.
Correct.
We can come in here with clarity and logic and like, this is what it's got to be. Because I know what it's like when you're in the middle of it and you're like, frick, they got ground here. They're doing this. They're doing this. We should be doing this. All this emotion's going through. So you need a specialist to cut through that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And be really clear. Okay, this is our message. This is our avatar. This is where we're going.
Yep.
So
one thing I'll add to that too about the getting in the mix of it and seeing that they're doing this and they're doing that. One thing that we sort of tend to see a lot of, and this is what tends to get the ego involved or sometimes some emotions that aren't helpful and things like that. Very rarely is your competition doing as well as they say they are
100%.
on those ads. You look at those ads and they might say they're not lying per se, but it is misleading a lot of the time. Like you look at their ads and you think they must be killing it or crushing it because the ads are popping up all the time or this, that, and the other. Generally, the ads are popping up all the time for you because you are that exact target audience. You're the same as the person putting the ads out there.
Exactly
you are.
Right. You're pretending to be the customer.
Exactly. So that's why you're seeing the ad a lot. They're not spending 10x what you are. They're not doing 50 times your turnover or whatever it is. Obviously, sometimes you will have competition that is crushing it and they're doing really well, and all power to them. But we do see a lot of the time people that just want to dominate or put money into something that's probably not the best use of their marketing budget and things like that, just because of the emotion that they feel from a reaction to their competitors' marketing.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's going to take a lot of heat of a lot of people. It's like, why do I keep seeing them everywhere? And it's like, because you're pretending to be a customer and the ads know that, the algorithms know that, the marketing system knows that. So they're going to follow you and target in on you.
I still have the thought from time to time, like our competition will come up and every time I open Facebook or Instagram, it's like, hell, I'm seeing them again. What are these guys spending on their ads
Yeah,
for it to
yeah.
come up this
They're
often?
not.
And then, you have a think about it again, and it's like, I'm just literally smack in the middle of what they're targeting and what the AI has started to focus on for their ad campaign.
Awesome. Well, that leads us beautifully into the next question, and this is a great thing in the world of digital marketing. So you remember that me personally, I started offline, so we were doing newspaper ads, letterbox drops, and things like that.
Coupons.
Yeah, all of that, like everything offline. And the only way that we were able to track things is, yes, coupons. So you bring in the coupon. Maybe there's a code word, but we call it direct response marketing. So you can track which ad actually brought someone in, because there'll be a response that they make. Okay. Now in the online world, it's a lot easier. We've got some awesome tools. We've got GA4, we've got phone tracking, and pretty much between those two, you can solve a lot of the tracking problems.
Yep.
But and that's
easier is probably a matter of perspective, but yes.
Okay. Well, we'll dive into that in a moment. So the ability is there.
Absolutely.
Compared to back then. But let's say someone's found themselves in this, like it's a mess. They've tried this, they've tried that, we've tried that. The first thing that I would recommend to them is like, let's just set up your tracking. Okay? So the question is, why do many businesses struggle to track ROI though?
Yep.
And what changes when a professional steps in?
Yep. So yeah, tracking and things that are now possible with websites and online in general it's nothing short of amazing. Like the extent that you can track things to now is jaw dropping to most people when they actually see it for the first time, or they start getting into the numbers on their own business and things like that. But for the most part, the mistakes that are made generally are not employing someone that knows what to track. So maybe I guess to take a step back from that, people setting up their own tracking, which is all good and well, encourage it. Absolutely. There's plenty of guides out there that will run you through how to set up some basic tracking on your site, Search Console and GA4
and just whack the code on there.
Yep, having all these tools. Google, being Google, is not great at keeping their documentation up to date. So generally I would suggest trying to find a more recent YouTube video of someone that's done a little bit of a walkthrough or a guide and things like that, because we still constantly, when we're trying to troubleshoot things or fix things that pop up, we'll go to Google documentation and find out that the layout or the user interface that they've got in the guide is not it's 3 years old, like 2 or 3 generations ago, and things like that. But for the most part, having some tracking is better than none. But the issues we see more often is tracking the wrong things, tracking things that are buzzwords or things that they've heard and all that sort of stuff, which is great from a business perspective if you're the bookkeeper or you're starting to look at the numbers from a financial point of view and all that sort of stuff. But we really want to go way deeper than that for the marketing side of things. Before we get down to the dollars and cents and if we're in the red or the green overall as a business, we want to know if a particular keyword is making us money, or a particular ad set is making us money, or a particular SEO strategy is profitable, and all that sort of stuff. So generally that's where having a specialist will come in and fix this stuff for you, because they'll know exactly what they need to track from the start, because it's what they do every day.
Well, yeah, right. That's their world.
And what they need to track as events, and what conversions need to happen, and what questions to ask for the information that you won't get from tracking, but it'll make the tracking make sense. Like what an average lifetime value of a customer is, or what your average sale value or average order value is at the start. Because obviously you can track all that stuff online and watch it build and know what you want to get it to, but not knowing what it is to start with before tracking means you're at a little bit of a disadvantage, because you don't know if you're making improvements from day dot.
Yeah.
And all that sort of stuff. But
yeah, that's cool. So that's the kind of stuff that you should be tracking and how to do it.
Yep.
I think my thought around it also is like the point of marketing is to buy customers at a profit.
Yeah.
So, and you at the core of it, your tracking needs to track that.
Spend money to make money.
Exactly.
And the whole plan of it is to spend less than you're making.
Yeah. So, and I get it. Like there's agencies out there, they'll report on rankings only. There'll be ad agencies, they report on clicks only or impressions only, or your organic agencies that are doing social media, and they'll report on likes or shares.
Or the report will change each month depending on what's actually going to make them look good and justify the cost.
Yeah, exactly right. And for me, like, I call them vanity metrics.
Absolutely.
Like, it's great to get a picture. Okay, our stuff is gaining traction. And
there's value in them.
Yeah, in reporting, we report on rankings 100%. But at the core of it, we report on conversions.
Yep.
We report on sales made, because if I'm going to spend money here, I need to see a return.
Yep.
And if you're not reporting on that return, your reporting's off, and you never know what your ROI is going to be.
Yep.
So I think that's the kind of core. Be careful with that. But then, as you said, a specialist, he'll be able to set that kind of stuff up in a couple of hours.
Yep.
Whereas someone trying to do it themselves, it'll take probably you'd take 10 hours and you'd probably still not get it right.
You could spend months.
Yeah, we've
literally
been there, like, learning this stuff as it's evolved.
Yeah,
it's a deep thing.
You could literally spend months on how deep some of it goes, and a lot of times either setting up things that aren't necessary, or setting up things incorrectly, or setting up things that, you know, we've learned just from the volume of it that we do, that there's better ways, or whatever it might be. The other thing a specialist will bring to you is a lot of these numbers and a lot of the things that you will get from analytics, especially when it's set up correctly, because the volume of information becomes so much bigger. Mm-hmm. It becomes really overwhelming for a lot of people, because you see a lot of abbreviations and a lot of 3 letters in instead of words, and you know, all of that stuff with a whole heap of numbers that are broken down and done into parts, and all the marketing jargon that comes with it. It becomes overwhelming.
Yep, I agree.
The marketing specialist, obviously, it's a relationship that you want to have some trust with someone, because this is where a lot of less agencies with less integrity, I will say, can manipulate things to, like I said, like they'll report on what makes them look good or what looked good for that month, and hide the things that really matter that may not be doing so well in a whole heap of numbers and stats and all that sort of stuff. But if you've got a specialist that you've got a good relationship with, they can make all of this make sense. And once you have someone that can break it down and show you that really there's only key things that you need to look at, and how to cut through all of that and all of those numbers and all of the overwhelming stuff, that's where you'll see the power and the value of your analytics and your tracking and your ROI and all that sort of stuff. Because your ROI to break down, for example, on an overall website level is quite easy with analytics, because you know you'll go into engagements and have a look at sales and have a look at overall. Starting to break that down into specific channels and mediums and you know
what you're spending,
where this money's coming in from, and whether it's your paid ads or organic search or AI stuff now, and all the rest of it, referral traffic and all the other things that can feed traffic to your website. How to break that stuff down and really know which marketing you're investing in is working for you, and what ROI you're getting from the spend in particular places. And then even taking it one step further, a specialist, and people can do this themselves once they get familiar enough with GA4 and all that sort of stuff, but a specialist should be able to set up a custom report that just looks at the things you need to, cuts all the rest of the stuff out, can send you a report once a week, once a month, however often you want, with just the stuff that you either A, want to see, or B, need to see.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'll probably go as far as saying this. The only way that I think we've been able to successfully scale companies from 6 figures to 7 figures and 7 to multiple 7 figures is because we've got the data there, the correct data. Yeah. Because you can now make educated marketing decisions, turn off the losing stuff in terms of ads, stop going after the keywords that aren't converting. So, and this brings us back to like the broad thing. Like, no one knows the exact thing. It's a matter of testing and continuing to go with it. But tracking is the thing that allows you to do that.
Absolutely.
And then double down on it. So
a lot of times too, it's what, and down exactly the same line of thought, getting these companies to grow to that extent, even just asking for the extra budget to take it further, or to expand a strategy, or to take a particular strategy and duplicate that for something else, and having the data there to back up what you're saying and why you're justifying it and why it's a good spend makes it much easier for us to go to them and suggest/ask for more money or more budget or whatever it is.
Because we can see this is going to work.
Absolutely.
The data backs it up.
And a lot of times too, it's depending on the size of the client, even if we're going down to smaller clients and businesses just starting up, a lot of times we can see in the marketing that it's working really well and here's all of the conversions and here's where it's coming from. For a startup business, it's such a roller coaster ride anyway. Yeah. They're not even they know that business has picked up a bit or it's a little bit busier, but they're not sure whether it's just from word of mouth or because for some businesses, 1 or 2 extra conversions a week is enough to turn it on its head and to grow. Yeah. And they're not completely convinced that that's coming from their website yet or from efforts that we're making and all that sort of stuff. So having all the data there to back it up and to show them that hey, here's where we started doing this and you can see that on the graph and here's where your sales started going up and you can cross-correlate them. Yeah, exactly. And have all that sort of stuff so that A, they get confidence in what it is that we're doing and B, they can have some certainty there that this is what is good for their business right now. Yeah. And just as much for the other side of it too, because it doesn't always work. Yeah. It's good for us to know, hey, here's something that we've been doing. We're going to switch that off and move this budget over here.
100%. That's happened.
Yeah.
It's that's marketing. It's testing, measuring, and then scaling the winners, tossing the losers.
Yep, 100%.
That's what it is. Awesome. All right, we've covered a lot of ground. Let's kind of finish off on this one. When does DIY marketing stop saving money and start costing more than hiring the experts? And I think we've kind of answered it with everything we've talked about, but it's a matter of, I always say this for business owners, and I had to learn this: where is my time best used in the business? Yeah. Is it best used trying to figure out tracking? For me, no. Is it best used running the ads? For me, no. Is it best used to do the SEO? For me, no at this stage. And you'll need to know where your business is at and then really figure that out. But when is kind of the turning point is like, I shouldn't spend my time and effort on this anymore? Is there kind of like an answer we can give to that?
I think so, yeah. And it varies a little bit because really some people are better at this stuff than others. Mm-hmm. If it's something that you've got a little bit more aptitude for and it's working successfully and you're getting really good results from your marketing and you're not having to pay an agency yet, all power to you. Yeah, that's great. It's awesome. But really, I think the answer is exactly like you just said. When you now don't have enough time in the day, so when you're finishing every day thinking I didn't get everything done, or I wish I had a few more hours, or I wish I got this done, or things are starting to fall through the cracks, that's where you need to take a step back, look at it from a little bit of a high level and go exactly like you said, where am I getting most value from my time?
Yeah. Is it affecting my bottom line now?
Yep, exactly. And even though the marketing might be more valuable from your time than other things, it also needs to break down into what can I outsource to get some of my time back. Right. Because, there might be other things that are in your business that aren't quite as valuable to your time, but you can't outsource them. There's no other people that can do them as well as you can yet. Or maybe you've got to hire someone and train them, and that's going to take some time and all that sort of stuff. The marketing is something that there's heaps of good agencies out there. Yeah. There's a lot of them. You've got a lot of good options. Or ultimately, too, you could hire someone that's really good at it and bring them in-house as a marketing manager, depending on the size of your business and all that sort of stuff too. But the marketing is something that people get really emotionally attached to, and it's hard to let go of once they've had some success and they've grown their business and they've had some wins. But the marketing is something that A, you can outsource and get really good results from, and B, you should outsource. Even if you are all over your marketing, that's great. That will really help the agency get a good start, or whoever you're going to employ to get a good start on your marketing. Yeah, absolutely collaborate. So not only will you get some more of your time back and all that sort of stuff, and you'll have really good sort of feel for whether you're getting good information and good marketing and that from the people you're employing. but also you'll get fresh ideas, you'll get new perspectives, you'll get other...
Well, yeah, we're working with 50 to 100 clients, depending on what kind of projects we're working
Yep.
on. We're going to have perspective.
Even just within our office, like so many now work remotely or have remote teams and all that sort of stuff. One of the reasons that we've kept everything here is so that you can have those brainstorming sessions. So you can ask the question, and literally if you want some more ideas on something that you're trying to put together, go and stand in the middle of the office, ask the question, and get 10 different opinions.
Yep, from all different departments that have worked on this stuff. Yeah, I think 100%. If you're seeing your day slip away, and you should be doing jobs that earn you money, you've got a problem.
Yep.
Like if it's stopping money, then it's not a good thing. That's what I always say. What's stopping the cash right now? It's like okay, I've got to get rid of that.
Yep.
So if it's doing that, and then the other thing is just if you've hit a wall. So
Yeah.
if your ads aren't working, if your marketing's not getting an ROI, if you're not ranking, if your website's not converting, probably time to stop trying doing it yourself and just talk to someone like us who's got 10 plus years of track record working across multiple industries. Like agencies know stuff that business owners don't because we've got that perspective.
Absolutely. And 10 plus years is us as an agency. Like if you take everyone's experience here, I don't know what it would add up to, but at least 5 times that. But another really good one too, and I only just remembered this because it's something that we've had with a client recently, a really good sort of way to know whether maybe it's time to let go of some of the marketing and things like that is if the late hours and the after hours work that you're spending on your marketing is starting to affect the quality of the service that you're giving to your clients, or how quickly you can respond to a lead or jump on a lead and all that sort of stuff, then that's a really good one. Because we've had a client, we've actually had a couple over the last 18 months, but one of them springs to mind more than others, that was getting great results from his own marketing, was killing it. But his response time to customer service emails and his turnaround times on shipping and his all that sort of stuff was starting to be affected because he was spread too thin.
Yep.
So built the business, started getting some really good growth year on year, got it to a point where it stretched him too thin, and then he just didn't have enough hours in the day to stay across everything, and the bad reviews piled up and the Google review, and then comes to us. If he'd come to us 6 months earlier, we could have kept the trajectory on an
built on the momentum.
Absolutely. But by the time we've picked up the dumpster fire, we're now trying to deal with, the 10 of the last 15 reviews are not great, and reputation management starts to become a whole part of the thing too. And it becomes just so much more expensive to turn that around and get it back to where it was if someone had just said to him, hey, maybe...
while the wheels are still going, let's keep pushing. Whereas
exactly.
The wheels are now going the other way. You got to stop it first and then get momentum again. So now that's it. So that's great. I think we've covered a lot of ground. Thank you so much for your time, Matthew McDonald.
Thank you, David
the
Crowder.
Official title. So, hey, if that's you though, if you're watching this right now and something like that resonated with you, either you're at a place where I want to do some marketing, or you're at a place where this is getting away from me, I need an agency to help me, or you've just hit a brick wall where it's just not working. We work with companies here in Australia from, we've helped startups, we've helped all kinds of companies kind of break into marketing that actually drives a result. So if that's something you're interested in, hit us up at websites@sell.com.au or pick up the phone, give us a call, 1300 188 662. We actually have people in the office that answer the phone.
It'll likely be me that answers it.
It's a novelty for you to enjoy. So if you enjoyed this episode, give us a like, and looking forward to seeing the next one.
Awesome.